Now, if your blood test has come back normal, I need you to hear this. That one word normal might be the most misleading word in all of medicine. Because normal doesn't mean healthy. It just means you're not sick enough yet to get a diagnosis. It tells you almost nothing about how long or how well you're going to live. But there are 5 numbers in your blood that do. 5 simple markers that can see trouble coming years, sometimes decades, before you ever feel a thing. And most doctors only check one of them. The 5th one is already sitting on a blood test you have almost certainly had. It costs nothing extra, and I bet the money that nobody's ever explained it to you. I'm Dr. Sajid Burud. I'm an internal medicine specialist and a longevity doctor. Stay with me for that number 5, because once you see it, you'll never look at your own blood work the same way you have done it before. Today, I'll walk you through all 5 in plain English, what each one is, what the number should actually be, and the part that matters, exactly what you can do about it. So let's go. Before we touch a single test, you need to have one idea clear, and get this, and everything else clicks into place. Now, when your doctor says your result is normal, they're comparing you to a range. But where does that range come from? It comes from the average population, and where the uncomfortable truth is that this average population or this person today is not healthy. A huge chunk of the population is overweight, inflamed, and slowly heading towards chronic disease. So a normal range is really just the middle of a struggling crowd. So being normal means you're keeping pace with a group that's quietly falling apart. On the other hand, optimal is a completely different question. In optimal, you ask, where on this scale do people actually live the longest and feel the best? Where the body is still running clean? Now here's the simplest way to picture the difference. Normal is a smoke alarm that only goes off once the house is already on fire. While optimal is noticing that the wiring is getting warm much before the smoke has even appeared. So let me make it concrete. Now picture 2 people, both at 45 years of age, both with a lab result which has been labeled as normal. On paper, identical. On one hand, one has an ApoB of 70, a fasting insulin of 4, and almost no inflammation. The other is sitting at the very top of normal on all the 3 parameters. Same label, normal, but completely different futures. One is aging slowly, the other is quietly building towards a disease. The blood test that lumped them together missed everything that matters. Now every test I'm about to show you can look perfectly normal while you're nowhere near the optimal. That gap is where your future is being decided. So as we go, don't ask, is it normal? Ask, is it optimal? And which way is it heading? Let's start with number 1, the test your standard cholesterol panel is quietly hiding from you. That is ApoB. It sounds technical, it isn't. Let me make it simple. Now you have had your cholesterol checked, LDL, HDL, the usual suspects. Here's what nobody told you. That standard LDL number is measuring the wrong thing. Now when the lab measures LDL cholesterol, it's measuring the cholesterol cargo sitting inside the particles in your blood. But that's not what gets stuck in your artery wall and starts a blockage. It's the particles themselves. Now think of a delivery trucks on a motorway. That LDL cholesterol tells you how much cargo all the trucks are carrying. But what actually clogs the road is the number of trucks. ApoB counts the trucks. Every single particle that can clog an artery carries exactly 1 ApoB tag. So ApoB is the head count, the true number of things trying to punch into your artery wall and block it. And here's the trap, and it catches people constantly. You can see a perfectly normal LDL cholesterol and a high ApoB at the same time. How? Okay, let's picture lots of small half-empty trucks, not much cargo in each. So the cholesterol number looks low and normal, but there's a huge number of trucks on the road. Now whether they are full or half empty, now that's common in people with belly fat, high triglycerides or early insulin resistance. Their report says fine, their arteries strongly disagree. Now this isn't just a thought. In a study called AMORIS study, over 175,000 people, in this study ApoB beat standard LDL test at predicting fatal heart attacks. And in 2026, even the American guidelines finally caught up and said, measure ApoB. Now, most labs won't even think and say that you are normal, or you say that if ApoB is 100, they call it normal. But 100 is just average. In a population full of heart disease, for most people protecting their heart, you want to keep an ApoB under 80. If you have a higher risk, like suppose genetic histories or any other metabolic syndrome, then it's better to keep it under 60. And don't assume you're safe just because heart disease doesn't run in your family. Plenty of people with a clean family history still carry a high ApoB, and plenty of people with scary family history keeps theirs low and do beautifully well. Your number is your number. Family history changes how aggressively you should be or not, whether it matters or it doesn't matter. Now, the part most videos skip. What do you do to make it right if it's high? The good news is that ApoB responds. Cutting back on refined carbs and heavily processed food helps. So does soluble fiber. Think oats, beans, lentils, vegetables, which literally, they pull your cholesterol out of circulation. Regular exercises help. Losing excessive belly fat helps. And for the same people, depending on their risk, medication is the right call sometimes. But that's the conversation you should have with your doctor. Looking at your whole picture, not just at one lab test. Now, who should care about this most? Anyone with a family history of heart disease, anyone with a belly fat or a blood sugar issues, and honestly, anyone would rather know the true head count than trust a rough LDL test only. Now, how do you track it? A cheap, simple blood test. You don't even need to be fasting for it. Get a baseline, then recheck about 2 to 3 months after you change some things in your life like diet, exercise or anything. So the trajectory matters in which direction it is going. But ApoB is about what's floating in your blood. The next text looks at the engine that's supposed to be bringing you fuel. And I'll show you how your blood sugar can look perfectly fine while the engine is already breaking down. And that comes to our number 2 test, and that is fasting insulin. And this simple score we build from it is called a HOMA-IR. Almost every checkup measures your blood sugar, your glucose. But here's the problem, glucose is the last thing to break. It's the final domino to fall. Imagine a boat with a slow leak. For years, you can keep the boat level by bailing water faster and faster. From the outside, everything looks fine. The boat's floating, the deck's dry. In your body, that bucket is insulin. Now, to keep your blood sugar looking normal, your pancreas quietly pump out more and more insulin, year after year. So your glucose reads normal, your doctor says you're fine, and the whole time, the leak is getting worse and worse. You just can't see it because the bailing is hiding it. So by the time your glucose finally rises, you've often been on the road for years or more than that. Fasting insulin lets you see the bailing directly, how hard your body is working behind the scenes. Pair it with your glucose and you get your HOMA-IR, a single number that estimates how insulin resistant you are. It's cheap and it's been used since decades. Because insulin resistance sits underneath almost everything we fear. As we age, type 2 diabetes comes due to insulin resistance, heart disease, fatty liver, several cancers, even Alzheimer's, which some researchers now even call it type 3 diabetes. One study of nearly 27,000 people without diabetes found that the most insulin resistance group had a 34% higher chance of dying from any cause and double the risk of dying from heart disease. People whose blood sugar looked completely normal but have very high fasting insulin. Many labs call fasting insulin normal all the way up to 25, but optimal is under 6. You could be 4 or 5 times past the ideal and still be told you're perfectly fine. Now, this is the most helpful number on the whole list because it's the most reversible. 3 things move it fast. First, what you eat. Cutting back on sugars and refined starch takes the load off straight away. Second, muscle. Your muscles are like a sponge for blood sugar. So straight training and even just a short walk after meals makes a real difference. Third, sleep. Even a few bad nights make you more insulin resistant, and fixing your sleep helps more than people expect. Now do those consistently and you can watch this number fall over a few months. So who should test it? Honestly, almost everyone, because it's the earliest warning we have especially if you carry weight around the middle, crash for energy after meals, or have diabetes in the family. How do you track it? Fasting insulin and glucose drawn together, first thing in the morning, fasting. So we have checked the fuel and we have checked the engine. Number 3 measures something you can't see, can't feel, and won't notice: how much your body is quietly on fire. So by now you already understand the two biggest levers in longevity, your heart and your metabolism. But you might be thinking, if these tests are so good, why isn't my doctor already running them? Fair question, but here's the honest answer. Your standard checkup wasn't designed to help you live longer. It was designed to catch disease and to stay inside what insurance and official guidelines will cover. Now those guidelines are built to be cautious and to move slowly. Remember, the US guidelines only officially recommended ApoB in 2026, even though the evidence had been strong for decades. The normal range exists to flag illness, and that has already arrived. Now to warn you that you are drifting towards it is another question. And then there's a time problem. Your doctor often has 10 or 15 minutes and a long list of boxes to check. Optimizing your health span isn't one of those boxes, unfortunately. Now, none of that means your doctor is bad. It means the system they work inside is aimed to treating diseases, not a thriving one. Now, that's the whole gap in this video, which is about normal that protects the system, optimal that protects you. So here where it gets really interesting. The last 3 tests are the ones almost nobody talks about. One's hiding in your liver panel, one of them is the most ignored number, and one the most blood test done in the world. And together they help explain why some people age fast and others barely seem to age at all. Stay with me. So the number 3 is high sensitivity CRP. Let's just call it your inflammation number. The scientists have a word for one of the real drivers of aging, and that's inflammaging. In simple explanation, there are 2 kinds of inflammation. The good one is short and sharp. For example, you cut your finger, it goes red and swollen, and it heals. So that inflammation helps you to heal. That's your body doing its own job. The bad kind is low, constant, and silent. A slow burn that never switches off. It doesn't hurt, you can't feel it. But year after year, it quietly damages your arteries, your brain, your joints, and your metabolism. Now, high sensitivity CRP is the simplest window we have into that slow burn. Your liver makes this protein whenever there is inflammation around, and the high sensitivity version of that test picks up the low levels that matter for the long game. And here's the proof it matters. In one major trial, researchers gave people a drug that does just one thing. It lowers inflammation. It doesn't touch your cholesterol or anything else. And they have seen that the heart attacks significantly dropped. Levels in your results you should look for are under 1, which is good. 1 to 3 is medium, over 3 is high. From a longevity perspective, you want to live under 1, ideally under half. Now, one thing to remember, this number jumps temporarily if you're sick, injured, or you're just done with a hard workout. So one high reading means nothing on its own. Don't panic over a single number. Retest when you're well and watch the trend over time. Because high sensitivity CRP is really a mirror of what's happening underneath. You lower it by treating the causes. The big change you can do is losing your belly fat, because fat around your organs actively pumps out inflammation. By not smoking, sorting out your sleep, eating more whole foods and fewer ultra-processed ones. And don't underestimate your mouth. A gum disease is a surprisingly common hidden source of body-wide inflammation. So brushing, flossing, and seeing a dentist genuinely moves this number down. Now, who should test this test? Anyone building a full picture of their heart and metabolic risk, because inflammation is the cause of these to decline. Everything so far is something a sharp doctor might actually order. The next 2 are different. They are hiding in plain sight. And number 4 is a liver test that strangely has almost nothing to do with your liver. The number 4 is GGT. If you've ever had a liver panel, this was on it, sitting quietly ignored as long as it was saying that it is within the range. Now here's something about it. GGT is one of the best simple windows we have to check oxidative stress. Yes, oxidative stress. And what is it? Now think of it as a rust. Every day your body's normal work throws off tiny sparks of damage, like a rust starting to form on a metal. And you have a cleanup crew that scrubs it off. The master cleaner is something called the glutathione in your body, your body's most important antioxidant. And here's where GGT comes in it. GGT is an enzyme that helps recycle that cleanup crew. So when your body is under heavy load, too much alcohol, too much belly fat, environmental toxin, a struggling metabolism, it has to recycle that glutathione faster and faster. So GGT climbs. In other words, a rising GGT is a check engine light for how rust your body is fighting. And most doctors drive right past it. It's because it's still in range. And on the other hand, the data is genuinely striking. A study of over 9 million people found that the gap with the highest GGT had a 33% higher risk of dying from any cause. And this is the key part. The risk started climbing with the GGT was still inside that so-called normal range. Yes, still normal, but already at a higher risk. A lab often won't flag it until it's up around 50 or even 60. But the lowest risk is at genuinely the low levels, under about 25 for men or 20 for women. The good news, GGT is one of the fastest moving numbers on this list. The single biggest lever is alcohol. Even a few weeks off or cutting right back can drop it noticeably. After that, losing belly fat, improving your blood sugar, and easing of processed food and sugary drinks. Clean up the inputs and GGT often falls within weeks. Now, who should pay attention? Anyone working on their metabolic health, anyone who drinks regularly, anyone with a fatty liver, and frankly, anyone who wants an early read on the wear and tear of their body. Now, which brings us to the number 5, the one I promised at the very start. It's one of the most common blood tests on earth. It costs you nothing extra, and I'll bet you a coffee that no one has ever explained it to you. So the number 5 is RDW, red cell distribution width. Don't let the name scare you, it's the simplest one of all. Now, every time you get a basic blood count, a CBC, the most common blood test in the world, the RDW is right there on the report. All it measures is how much your red blood cells vary in size. That's it. Are they all roughly the same size or they are mixed bag? Some small, some large. Now, doctors normally only glance at it to help sort out different types of anemias. On the other hand, as a longevity signal, it's almost completely ignored. And that's a big mistake. Because RDW turns out to be one of the most powerful predictors of dying that we have. And the strangest, because for a long time nobody could explain why. A major study said that every 1% rise in RDW came with about a 22% higher risk of death from any cause. And it held up even in people whose RDW was technically normal, with no anemia and no vitamin deficiencies. A second study followed 27,000 people for around 20 years and found the same thing. More deaths from heart disease, cancer and lung diseases right across the board. So why would the size spread of your red blood cells predict death from so different diseases? And the best explanation given, it's simple. To build nice, uniform and blood cells, your blood needs 3 things going on well. Good nutrition, low inflammation and low oxidative stress. When any of these slips, your bone marrow starts turning out cells of all different sizes. So RDW is like a smoke detector for your whole body. It quietly adds up the exact 3 things we've talked about in the entire video. That's inflammation, oxidative stress and metabolic strains. And all this into one number you already have. Now, the lab normal values, they allow you up to 14.5%, but the risk climbs steadily throughout that whole range. So you want it to be under 13. And because RDW is a summary of everything else, you don't chase it directly. You fix the upstream cause for it. Make sure that first you're not low in iron, B12 or folate, which are the common fixable reasons cells come out uneven. Then bring down the inflammation and the oxidative stress. Also improve your sleep. All these drifts down the RDW. And the best part, you don't need a new test. So pause, pull out that last recent blood test you have done, and look, you must be having that RDW there under your CBC test. It's almost certainly already there. Alright, those are all the 5 tests you can do. Now let me show you how they fit together, because one at a time they are useful, but together they are a complete map of how you're aging. Let's pull it all together. Picture these 5 as a dashboard on how you are going to be aging. ApoB is the traffic on the road to your heart, the particles trying to clog your arteries. Fasting insulin is your engine, telling you if your metabolism is straining in silence. High sensitivity CRP is the fire, how much you're burning inside. GGT is the rust, the wear and tear at the cellular level. And RDW sits on top of all of it like a master smoke detector for the whole house. Now notice that the thing they all share is every single one can read normal when you're nowhere near optimal in a normal blood test report which you get from your laboratory. Now that's not a glitch, that's the system doing exactly what it was built to do. Catch disease once it's there, not protect your health before it arrives. And notice something else, they're connected. High insulin feeds inflammation. Inflammation drives oxidative stress. Oxidative stress shows up in your GGT and your RDW. So these aren't 5 separate problems, they are 5 windows in the same handful of root causes. And that's actually great news, because it means the same basic moves, losing belly fat, building muscle, eating real food, sleeping well, going easy on alcohol, improves almost all of them at once. So next time you get your blood work, change one question. Don't ask, is it normal? Ask, is it optimal? And which way is it trending? That single change in the question is the difference between catching a problem in 10 years early and then or 10 years later. Alright, so what do you do actually with all this information? Here's a simple plan. Step 1, get the numbers. Most of these you can simply ask your regular doctor for fasting insulin and fasting glucose together. CRP, high sensitivity CRP, which I mean GGT on a liver panel, and RDW on a basic blood count. Now ApoB might take a specific request, but it's cheap and increasingly standard nowadays. Step 2, write your actual numbers next to the optimal targets. Seeing the gap in black is black and white, and is what turns this from interesting into motivating. Step 3, don't panic. Don't try to fix everything overnight. Pick the 1 or 2 numbers furthest from the optimal and start from there. And here's the beautiful part we just covered. Because these are all connected, the same few habits move most of them together. If you just did 3 things again, and I repeat, build some muscles, cut the ultra-processed food and sugary drinks, and protect your sleep, you'd improve almost every number on this list. Step 4, recheck in about 3 months. Not because the number is the goal, the number is just the scoreboard. The real goal is the more good years you want to achieve by optimizing these lab results. And one more time, because it matters, none of these is a diagnosis and none should be read alone. Remember, best option is take them to your doctor who will look at you as a whole picture, including your history, your family history, and your signs and symptoms. Use them to ask sharper questions, not to score yourself. So here's the big takeaway. Normal was never meant to tell you you're healthy. It was only ever meant to tell you that you're not sick. Optimal is the real target, and now you know that 5 numbers that point in which direction you're going. So if this changed how you see that one word normal, then please do subscribe, because the gap between normal and optimal is the whole point of this channel.